In this era of advanced technology and communication facility, with the help of social media, WhatsApp, Skype, and many more, friends, can you imagine spending 1 week alone in a room deprived of all these communication facilities? But here, I am talking about this man who spent 27 years of his prime lifetime in a 5-square-foot cell, which was part of a prison in a remote Reuben island. In this 27 years, up to 20 years, he was not allowed to read anything, see the calendar, and not even the clock. But this Reuben island became the crucible which transformed him totally. Using his intelligence, charm, and dignified defiance, he changed the most brutal prison official into his own will and became the master of his own prison. Fellow Cavaliers, Toastmasters, and guests, good evening.
Good evening.
Nelson Mandela was a lawyer, an activist, and a prisoner before becoming the first black president of South Africa and an inspiration to many generations throughout the world. Nelson Mandela entered this world in July 18, 1918, in a small village of Weso to a chief named Garda Henry. The colonial authorities removed Mandela's father from his chief status and his family moved to Kunu. Nelson Mandela was the first person in his family to receive proper school and college education. What counts in life is not a mere fact that you have lived, but what difference you have made in the life of other people. Yes, Nelson Mandela had made a lot of difference in the life of the people in South Africa. Before going into that, friends, I would like to ask you a question. How many of you are familiar with the word apartheid?
What?
Apartheid.
Oh,
Apartheid in the South African language means separateness. It was the system in which the whites and the non-whites were separated and were not given equal rights. When Nelson Mandela was 20, he joined the South African Congress and started a peaceful, non-violent campaign against the South African government, which was comprised of only whites. The glory of life does not lie in never falling, but rising up every time you fall. There were many setbacks in Mandela's life in his mission to achieve racial equality. Nelson Mandela was famous for his disguises in different ways in order to escape from the police. But practically for many years, he was a creature of night. But in 1962, he was arrested by the police and was sentenced for life in prison. In the prison, he was forced to do hard work in the lime quarry. Well, later on, when he started his new life as the president of South Africa, even a small photo flash would hurt his eyes, which was totally damaged by the dust from the limestone. Nelson Mandela stood firm and rescued his country from the extremes of apartheid using democracy. For this, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Perhaps we can find a lot of similarities between our own Gandhiji and Nelson Mandela. Both of them replaced self-interest for group interest without minimizing the importance of self. For Nelson Mandela, India was Gandhiji's birthplace and South Africa his land of adoption. We all might have known that Nelson Mandela passed away a few months ago at the age of 95. Nelson Mandela, or Madiba, which was affectionately called by the people, had done more than enough for this world and will be remembered as one of history's greatest men. Thank you. Over to you.